The Cybernetic Foundry, the seventh day. The land breach and the purchase of the Sovereign Horizon.
January 10th, 2026. Subject: Pirate First, MXTM. Role: Implementation Agent, ChatGPT. Introduction: The node finds its voice. The seventh day of the Cybernetic Foundry represents the most significant expansion of jurisdictional boundaries to date. If previous sessions were about building the forge and testing the heat, the session recorded in provisioner.quest is about opening the doors to the outside world. In this phase, Pirate First moves from Introverted Sovereignty, a relay that only talks to itself, to Extroverted Infrastructure. Guided by ChatGPT, he navigated the final technical blockers of port conflicts, achieved successful LAN exposure, and, in a definitive move toward permanent identity, purchased the domain provisioner.quest. This day marks the moment the project transitioned from a local experiment into a global-ready beacon. Chapter 1. The Persistence of the Ghost. Hunting PID 1698. The session began with a technical paradox. Despite updating the configuration to bind to all interfaces 0.0 to 0.0, the system utility SS reported that the relay was still locked to the loopback address 127.0 to 0.1. Pirate First discovered that a ghost process, PID 1698, was still holding the port hostage. This is a common hurdle for the sovereign operator. The machine's memory of the old way must be forcefully cleared before the new way can take hold. Under ChatGPT's direction, he executed the kill command, effectively ending the legacy process and clearing the path for the universal bind. Chapter 2. The 0.0.0.0 Declaration. Listening to the horizon. With the port cleared, Pirate First applied the critical configuration change in strfry.local.sonf. Bind equals 0.0.0.0:7777. This declaration is the open-door policy of the Foundry. By binding to 0.0.0.0, Pirate First commanded the relay to listen for incoming signals on every network interface available to the machine. The node was no longer a private diary. It became a public, within the LAN, library. Chapter 3. The Verification Receipt, SS, and the Proof of Binding. The receipt of success arrived via the command SS. LNTP grep 7777. Unlike the previous day's result, the terminal now displayed 0.0.0.0:7777. This output is the empirical proof of milestone 3A. It confirmed that any device within Pirate First's local network could now communicate with his sovereign node. This chapter highlights the importance of receipts, not rhetoric. The operator does not assume the system is working. He demands the terminal prove it. Chapter 4. The Internal Map, Identifying the Gateway IP. To connect external devices, like a smartphone, Pirate First had to identify his machine's street address on the local network. Using hostname I, he discovered his internal IP, 192.168.1.134. This step represents the bridge between abstract protocol and physical hardware. Understanding that his computer is a specific node at a specific address allowed him to move from the command line of the server to the interface of the client. Chapter 5. The Handshake, Mobile-to-O Relay Synchronization. The climax of the LAN phase was the first successful handshake between a mobile Nostr client and the local relay. By entering ws//192.168.1.134:7777 into his phone, Pirate First achieved multi-device sovereignty. This handshake proves that his sovereign reality is no longer trapped on one screen. He can now carry his infrastructure in his pocket, reading and writing to his own database from anywhere within his jurisdiction. This is the realization of the Pirate First mobile office. Chapter 6. The Pivot to Global Identity, from IP to Domain. Local exposure is a victory, but IP addresses are fleeting and difficult to remember. To anchor his project in the global information ecosystem, Pirate First made a strategic pivot, the acquisition of a top-level domain. This move shifts the project from technical infrastructure to brand identity. A domain provides a persistent, human-readable anchor that can follow the operator even if his underlying hardware or IP address changes. Chapter 7. Provisioner.quest. Staking a claim in the digital commons. Pirate first chose and successfully registered the domain provisioner.quest. The choice of the .quest TLD is semantically significant. It frames the project not as a static product, but as an ongoing journey towards sovereignty. This domain will serve as the gateway for his provisioners, patrons, providing a clean, professional entry point into his sovereign jurisdiction. Chapter 8. The Economy of Sovereignty, the $1.78 insurrection. The purchase of the domain through Namecheap for a total of $1.78 via PayPal is a testament to the low-cost barrier to entry for modern sovereignty. This chapter analyzes the economics of the Foundry. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, Pirate First has secured a global address for his work. It reinforces the thesis that digital independence is not a matter of high capital, but of high intent and precise execution. Chapter 9. The Path Ahead, TLS, Caddy, and the Secure Tunnel. With the domain purchased, the session concluded by mapping the next frontier, Milestone 3B. The challenge is now the leap to the global web. This will require reverse proxy, using Caddy or Nginx to handle traffic. Security, implementing TLS, SSL, certificates so the WS // unsecured becomes WSS // secured. Tunneling, potentially using Tailscale or Cloudflare tunnels to bypass home router restrictions. Critical reflection, the friction of transition. Critique of ChatGPT. ChatGPT was highly effective in troubleshooting the port conflict, PID 1698, demonstrating that the AI is best utilized as a forensic debugger. However, as the project moves toward DNS and reverse proxies, ChatGPT must ensure that it doesn't overcomplicate the architecture for Pirate First, keeping this sovereign aspect front and center. Critique of Pirate First. His discipline in verifying every step and his immediate move to anchor the project with a domain shows a high degree of strategic momentum. He is no longer reacting to bugs. He is proactively building a brand. The transition from writer to architect is now augmented by the role of digital strategist. Conclusion: the foundational anchor is set. The seventh day ended with a definitive victory. The relay is open. The domain is ours. The Cybernetic Foundry has successfully breached the walls of the local machine. Pirate First now owns a node that listens to his network and a domain that represents his vision to the world. The Forge is no longer just a workshop. It is a registered jurisdiction. Receipts, not rhetoric. End of Phase 6. Thanks for reading MXTM's newsletter. Subscribe for free to receive new posts and to support my works in progress. PayPal.me/Martin Chartrand. Subscribed. Substack note. The Cybernetic Foundry, the open door. We have breached the local machine. On the seventh day, the provisioner node moved from internal monologue to network dialogue. By exorcising the final process ghosts and binding to 0.0.0.0, the relay is now live across the LAN. For the first time, I could reach out from a mobile device and touch the sovereign database running on my desk. But we didn't stop at the local wire. Today, I put a flag in the ground of the global web. For the cost of $1.78, provisioner.quest is now the official anchor of this jurisdiction. We have moved from IP addresses to an identity. The quest for a buy me a coffee with a spine now has a home. The Forge is open. The horizon is in sight. Ex-post. The Foundry, Day 7 Pirate Flag. Milestone 3A complete. The relay is now listening to the LAN, 0.0.0.0. Mobile to node handshake verified. Mobile phone handshake laptop computer. Strategic pivot. I've officially anchored the project with a domain. Welcome to provisioner.quest. Hashtag Noster, hashtag Sovereign Tech, hashtag Build in Public, hashtag STRFRY, hashtag Provisioner. Hashtags. Hashtag Provisioner Quest, hashtag Sovereign Identity, hashtag Noster Relay, hashtag Alien Exposure, hashtag Digital Sovereignty, hashtag Build in Public, hashtag Cybernetic Foundry, hashtag Pirate First, hashtag Systems Integration, Hashtag domain sovereignty. Discussion about this episode. Comments. Restax. Recent episodes. The Cybernetic Foundry. The 6th day Vlogcast 11 minutes. 20 hours ago, MXTM, aka Vitsu.
The techno-nomads who arbitrated the fall of nations.
Raise the black. And so we did, and so we never lowered it again. Patience and a quiet venom, smart and slow. Under static anger spreads, code drips below. No peace in the silence, just a warning. Raw heartbeat sinks with the siren of new war. Bitterness spikes and I sip on the glitch. Digital venom, pixels twitch. I draw my plans into smoke and zeros tonight. Pirates fracture all their heroes.
Another hero falls, another broken scene. They promised truth, they promised light, but all I got was another sleepless night. Join the fight of solidarity, we're stronger together.
They say I'm going too far, but I'm just who I am. Breaking through the firewall, watch the systems fall. You will never be a billionaire, you stupid fuck. The game is rigged, it's time to say enough.
Will we take the wheel? Will they save us all? We'll play the flow, the clock's ticking fast. Where do we go? Knowledge, power, the future seed belongs to us all, not the lords of greed. Claim it now like the anthem ring. Save your ability to sign this thing.
When every corrupt system falls, control, I'll delete the